So next up, let's talk about some performance enhancement. Now, this is a really nice feature of this new standalone API, and it gives us the ability to not only use this load children as we would when we would lazy load a module. We've obviously converted this over to a root definition, but inside of here you can see that everything is included in that particular bundle because we're not splitting the components based on these roots. Now we can confirm this. If we scroll up slightly, you can see that we have this lazy chunk files and we have admin roots, which is 334 kilobytes. So what this essentially allows us to do alongside our other main bundles is code split on another level. So essentially what we want to do is get rid of this and end up with a very nice clean roots configuration. So how do we do this without having these errors? Because obviously our imports are not there anymore. Instead of using just component, we're going to be using a new property called load component. This can either be a property or a function that returns us a dynamically imported component. So for this, we'll bump this down onto a new line so we can see things a bit more clearly. And essentially, in the same way that we are using a dynamic import to import our roots and pass them to load children, we're going to do the exact same thing with load component. So let's go and highlight these at the same time. We can say, I want to import. Now this is going to come from our admin folder. We want to go and grab all of those components. Of course, as they are rooted components, they're going to live inside of our containers. And then we want to go and grab those individual components. So if we start things off with our donut list component. Now this first root is going to be the donut list. However, these are going to be the donut singles. So while we're here, let's quickly convert these over to donut singles so they point to the right components. And now we need to, in the same way, using .then, we need to go and grab the file, and then we just simply need to return that definition. So if we have a look at the end, we can close this off, hit save. This then gives us our lazy loaded components on a root level. So not only are the roots being lazy loaded, and again, we can go ahead and click on all of these and go back. So that's working as intended, but these are in fact now code split and lazy loaded. We can confirm this by having a look here. So we have lazy chunk files, and instead it's 1.74 kilobytes. If we jump down into the network tab, we can give things a refresh. You can see that we have everything that's been loaded in. You can see that we have the root definitions and the donut list component. If we then go and click on something else, this is then going to load in another code split file, which is the donut single component. So if we take a look at this is going to be, obviously it's quite a large file at the moment, but when this is then built for production, this is going to be far smaller. So instead of having this 300 kilobyte bundle include, it's actually 1 kilobytes now. And then when we navigate across to a component, that component is then lazy loaded in. It's already code split ahead of time using the new load component API. So that's pretty much it for our application conversion to standalone components. There's one more final video that I want to talk about, and it's our services and the implications it has on this provided in property. But for now, we've learned about the load component. We pass in a function, we return a dynamic import, and then the property from the lazy loaded chunk, we want to grab that donut list component, which is then exported for us, or the donut single and the donut single component. Now, before this change, what we would essentially do to achieve this is create a module per component. And this is something that's been popularized in the Angular community, is using this single component Angular modules, which then allows us to lazy load per component instead of the entire root. So again, this is giving us a nice performance boost with our applications. So with this in mind, we're pretty much done. Let's jump into the final video and talk about our services.